Chapter 1. The Foundation. Gregory Ashley learned patience in the sandstorms of Kandahar and precision in the mountains of Kosovo. 10 years as a Marine Corps intelligence officer had taught him to read people like classified documents. Every gesture, every word choice, every micro-expression told a story. Now, at 38, he ran a private security consulting firm in Denver, designing protection systems for high-net-worth clients who valued discretion as much as safety. He'd met Vanessa Parsons at a charity gala 6 years ago. She was an event coordinator for a luxury hotel chain, beautiful in that effortless way that made men forget their own names. Auburn hair, green eyes that sparkled when she laughed, and a smile that could disarm a bunker. Gregory, usually unshakable, had been shaken. Their courtship was whirlwind. She appreciated his stability, his quiet strength. He loved her vivacity, the way she brought color into his structured world. They married after 8 months. No red flags. No warnings. Or so he'd thought. Gregory sat in his home office on a Tuesday evening, reviewing security footage for a client's estate, when Vanessa breezed through the door. She kissed his temple, her perfume, something new, he noted, trailing behind her. "How was your day?" she asked, setting down her designer purse. "Productive. Closed the Henderson contract." He glanced up. "You're home late. Client dinner ran long. The Breckenridge Resort wants us to handle their entire winter event season." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Actually, speaking of which, I need to fly to Phoenix next week. 3-day conference with the regional managers." Gregory nodded, returning to his screens. "When do you leave?" "Thursday morning. Back Sunday evening. I'll drive you to the airport." "You don't have to." "I want to." He looked at her directly. "Been a while since we've had real time together." Something flickered across her face. Guilt? Annoyance? It vanished before he could classify it. "That's sweet. I'd like that." She disappeared upstairs. Gregory sat motionless, replaying the conversation. In his former life, he'd interrogated enemy combatants and sorted truth from deception. Vanessa's micro-expressions had triggered something in his operational instincts. A hesitation before she mentioned Phoenix, a rehearsed quality to her delivery, the way her left hand touched her throat when she said conference. He opened his laptop and pulled up her email. He'd never snooped before, respected her privacy religiously. But his gut was screaming, and Gregory Ashley had learned to trust his gut. It had saved his life more than once. Her password was their wedding anniversary. The inbox was clean. Too clean. He checked deleted items. Empty. Sent folder? Recent messages about actual work events. Nothing about Phoenix. He leaned back, steepling his fingers. Either he was paranoid, or Vanessa had just lied to his face. He picked up his phone and called Russell Lancaster, his best friend since boot camp and now his business partner. "Russ, I need a favor." "Quiet one." "Name it." "Track Vanessa's phone for the next week." "Don't ask why yet." Russell was silent for a beat. "Greg, if you're asking this, you already know something's wrong." "I know my gut's talking." "That's enough. I'll set it up. Encrypted feed to your secure phone." Gregory ended the call and climbed the stairs. Vanessa was in their bedroom, packing her suitcase. She looked up, smiling. "I'm thinking I should buy something special for the trip. Maybe that black dress I showed you last month." "You'd look beautiful in anything," he said truthfully. She crossed to him, wrapping her arms around his neck. "I'm lucky to have you. You know that." He kissed her forehead. "Phoenix is lucky to have you representing the company." That night, lying beside his sleeping wife, Gregory stared at the ceiling. He'd built a career on reading threats, on seeing what others missed. Every instinct honed over a decade of military service was humming with warning signals. He hoped he was wrong. He suspected he wasn't. Chapter 2. The Mission Brief. Thursday morning arrived with Colorado sunshine cutting through their bedroom windows. Gregory loaded Vanessa's suitcase into his Range Rover while she checked her makeup one final time in the hallway mirror. She wore a cream blouse and tailored pants, business appropriate, but the blouse was new. Another detail filed away. The drive to Denver International Airport took 40 minutes. Vanessa chatted about the conference agenda, the sessions she'd attend, the networking opportunities. Gregory listened, asking questions a supportive husband would ask, while mentally cataloging inconsistencies. She mentioned dinner reservations at a steakhouse she'd read about online. When he asked which one, she fumbled the name. "I'll text you when I land," she said, kissing him goodbye at departures. "Be safe. Love you." Love you too. She grabbed her rolling suitcase and disappeared into the terminal. Gregory didn't drive away. Instead, he parked in the garage and walked back to the terminal, positioning himself where he could watch the security checkpoint. Vanessa went through, collected her belongings, and walked toward the gates. He waited 20 minutes, then headed to his vehicle. His secure phone buzzed. Russell's tracking app was live. A red dot showed Vanessa's location, still at DI, near gate B37. He drove to his office, a converted loft in Lodo with reinforced doors and surveillance equipment that would make the NSA jealous. Russell was waiting, 2 cups of black coffee on the desk. She bored yet? Russell asked. He was built like a linebacker, with kind eyes that masked a tactical mind as sharp as Gregory's. Should be boarding now. Flight leaves in 30 minutes. They watched the tracking app. The red dot stayed at gate B37. Then, at 10:47 a.m., 3 minutes after the Phoenix flight departed, it started moving. Back through the terminal. Out to the parking garage. Well, shit, Russell muttered. Gregory's jaw tightened. Where's she going? The dot traveled south on I-25, exited at Colorado Boulevard, and stopped at a location that made Gregory's stomach drop. The Riverside Inn, a budget motel on the east side, the kind that rented rooms by the hour and didn't ask questions. You want me to? Russell started. No, I need to see this myself. But not now. Gregory's voice was ice. If I confront her now, I'm reacting. I need to know everything first. Who, why, how long? Then I act. What do you need? Give me everything on that motel. Ownership, management, security systems. I want to know if they have cameras, who monitors them, and how to access the footage. Russell cracked his knuckles. On it. What else? I'm going to play the perfect husband. She thinks I'm at the office all day. I'll text her, call her, keep the routine normal. Meanwhile, we gather intelligence. Over the next 3 days, Gregory executed the performance of his life. He texted Vanessa good morning and good night. Called her Thursday evening to ask about her day. She spun elaborate stories about conference sessions, networking cocktails, and panel discussions. Her voice was bright, engaged, practiced. Lying in their bed alone, Gregory listened to her describe a keynote speaker who didn't exist at a conference she'd never attended and felt something cold settle in his chest. Not heartbreak, not yet. That would come later. This was operational detachment, the mental shift he'd made before every mission. Emotion was the enemy of precision. Russell delivered his findings Friday afternoon. The Riverside Inn is a dump, owned by a shell company, managed by a guy named Sidney Wood who looks the other way for cash. Security system is from 2003, 4 cameras, all exterior, recording to a DVR in the manager's office. I can get you in there. Not yet. She comes home Sunday. I need her to think everything's normal. You're playing a dangerous game, brother. I'm playing the only game that wins. Gregory pulled up the tracking data. Vanessa's phone had been at the Riverside Inn from Thursday afternoon until Friday morning, then moved to a shopping mall, a restaurant, and back to the motel. Saturday showed the same pattern. She was living a double life, complete with believable alibis and covered tracks. Sunday evening, Gregory drove back to DI. His heart was a stone in his chest, but his face showed only warmth when Vanessa emerged from the terminal, rolling her suitcase, looking perfectly professional and slightly tired. How was it? He asked, pulling her into an embrace. Exhausting. Good, but exhausting. She kissed him. I'm so glad to be home. They drove home, Vanessa filling the silence with more fiction about her weekend. Gregory nodded, commented, played his part. Inside, he was counting down to the moment of truth. That moment came at 10:37 p.m. They were in the living room, Vanessa unpacking her suitcase upstairs, when Gregory's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, unknown number. He answered. Is this Gregory Ashley? A man's voice, older, authoritative. Speaking. This is Leonard Blackwell. I'm the Southwest Regional Director for Prestige Hotels. I'm trying to reach Vanessa Ashley. We had a conference this weekend in Phoenix, and she never showed up. We tried her cell, but she's not answering. Is everything all right? We were worried she might be sick. Gregory's grip on the phone tightened. I'm sorry, what? Your wife was registered for our regional managers conference. Thursday through Sunday. She never checked in, never attended any sessions. We're concerned. She just got home, Gregory interrupted, his voice carefully controlled. From Phoenix. From your conference. Silence on the other end. Mr. Ashley, I'm looking at our attendance records right now. Vanessa Ashley was marked as a no-show. Are you certain? Thank you for calling. I'll have her contact you. Gregory hung up before the man could respond. He sat motionless, phone in hand, rage and betrayal warring with cold calculation. Then he stood and walked upstairs. Chapter 3. The Discovery. Vanessa was in their bedroom, humming softly while organizing her suitcase contents. Gregory stood in the doorway, watching her. She looked up, smiled. I'm thinking room service and a movie. What are you? She stopped. You okay? You look pale. That was your boss, Leonard Blackwell. Her face went blank, just for a second. Then confusion crossed her features. Perfectly performed, utterly fake. Leonard? Why would he call you? He said you missed the conference. Said you were a no-show all weekend. That's insane. I was there. There must be some administrative mix-up. I'll call him tomorrow and… Stop. Gregory's voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of a decade giving orders under fire. Just stop. Vanessa's mouth opened, closed. She reached for her phone. I don't know what's happening, but… Where were you? Phoenix. I told you. Where? Were you? The mask slipped. Just for a moment, he saw something else in her eyes. Not guilt. Calculation. She was deciding which lie to deploy next, weighing her options like a chess player staring at a losing board. I need to check my suitcase, Gregory said, moving past her. Greg, you're scaring me. He unzipped the suitcase, methodically removing clothes. Business attire, casual wear, toiletries. He checked every pocket, every compartment. In the inner zippered section, his fingers found plastic. A keycard. White, with Riverside imprinted in faded blue letters. Room 117. He held it up. Want to revise your story? Vanessa's face crumpled. Tears welled up. Real or performed, he couldn't tell anymore. Greg, please let me explain. Explain what? That you've been fucking someone at a motel in our city while I thought you were at a conference? Explain that. His voice didn't rise. That made it worse. It's not. It's complicated. Is it still rented? Room 117. She went pale. What? Simple question. Is someone still at room 117 of the Riverside Inn? I don't know. Gregory was already moving. He grabbed his keys, his wallet, and headed for the door. Vanessa followed, crying, grabbing his arm. Please don't go there. Please. We can talk about this. He pulled free without looking at her and walked out. The drive to the Riverside Inn took 15 minutes. Gregory made it in 9. The motel was exactly what he'd expected from Russell's report. A 1970s horseshoe-shaped building, flickering neon sign, cars in various states of disrepair parked haphazardly. Room 117 was on the ground floor, curtains drawn, light visible through the gaps. Gregory parked and sat in his Range Rover, breathing slowly, forcing his heart rate down. He'd gone into hostile territory dozens of times, armed with nothing but training and will. This was different. This was personal. Personal made you sloppy. He couldn't afford sloppy. He got out of the vehicle and walked to room 117. Knocked. Just a minute. A man's voice, irritated. The door opened. The man was mid-30s, good-looking in a generic way, wearing jeans and an untucked dress shirt. Gregory recognized the type, sales guy, smooth talker, used to getting what he wanted. Behind him, Gregory could see the room. Unmade bed, wine bottle on the nightstand, women's clothes draped over a chair. Vanessa's clothes. Can I help you? The man asked. Derek Wagoner? Gregory kept his voice level. The man's eyes narrowed. Who's asking? Gregory Ashley. Vanessa's husband. Derek's face went through several emotions in quick succession. Surprise, fear, then something that made Gregory's hands curl into fists, smugness. Look, man, I don't want any trouble. How long? What? How long have you been fucking my wife? Derek straightened, and Gregory saw the shift in his posture. This wasn't a man who'd be intimidated easily. That's between me and Vanessa. Maybe you should ask yourself why she needed to look elsewhere. Gregory smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. You think you're the prize here? You think she chose you because you're special? I think she chose me because I make her happy. Something you apparently can't do. Room 117. Budget motel. Real classy, Derek. Real special. Better than whatever cold home life you were giving her. Gregory took a step forward. Derek tensed, ready to fight. For a moment, Gregory wanted it. Wanted to break this man's smug face, wanted the physical release of violence. But he'd learned control in places where losing it meant death. "You have 48 hours to check out of this room," Gregory said quietly. "After that, things get complicated for you. Believe me when I say you don't want complicated from me. Not a threat. It's a timeline. What you do with it is your choice." Gregory turned and walked back to his vehicle. Behind him, he heard Derek call out, "She's not going back to you, Ashley. We're in love." Gregory didn't respond. He drove home on autopilot, his mind already shifting into operational mode. This wasn't just an affair. The clothes in the room, the wine, the comfortable familiarity of Derek's response. This had been going on for a while. Months, maybe longer. Vanessa's car wasn't in the driveway when he got home. The house was dark, empty. He walked to his office, sat at his desk, and opened his laptop. He pulled up the tracking data from the past 3 days, cross-referencing Vanessa's location history. Then he went back further, requesting archive data from Russell's system. Patterns emerged. Business trips that coincided with motel stays. Late nights at work that ended at the Riverside Inn. Lunches that lasted 3 hours at a restaurant 2 blocks from Derek's office. 6 months. Maybe more. His phone rang. "Vanessa." He declined the call. It rang again. 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 Text messages flooded in. "Please come home. Please let me explain. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not what you think. I love you. Please." Gregory powered off his phone and sat in the dark, thinking, planning. His marriage was over. That was a fact he'd accepted the moment he saw the keycard. But this wasn't about saving the marriage. This was about justice. About consequences. About making sure Vanessa and Derek understood exactly what they'd destroyed and what it would cost them. He'd spent 10 years in intelligence, learning how to dismantle enemy networks, exploit weaknesses, and execute operations with surgical precision. He'd learned patience, strategy, and the art of making your enemy defeat themselves. It was time to put those skills to use. Chapter 4. Intelligence Gathering. Russell Lancaster arrived at Gregory's house at 6 a.m. Monday morning with coffee and a duffel bag full of equipment. He found Gregory in his office, surrounded by open laptops and documents, looking like he hadn't slept. "You look like hell," Russell said, handing him a cup. "I feel like a deployment." Gregory took a long drink. "Thanks for coming." "Brother, you call, I answer. Always." Russell pulled up a chair. "What do you need?" "Everything. I need to know exactly who I'm dealing with. Background on Derek Wagoner, employment, finances, family, criminal history. I need to know Vanessa's movements for the past 6 months reconstructed from phone data, credit cards, everything. I need to know if there's anyone else involved." "Anyone else?" "Think about it. She maintained this lie perfectly. Fake conference, perfect cover story, clean alibis. Someone helped her. Someone gave her advice, maybe provided cover. I need to know who." Russell nodded, pulling out a tablet. "I'll get started. What are you going to do?" "Talk to a lawyer. Get my ducks in a row legally. Then start building the case." "The case for what exactly?" Gregory's eyes were cold. "You'll see." At 9 a.m., Gregory sat across from Alan Atkinson, a divorce attorney recommended by a former client. Atkinson was 60, sharp-eyed, with a reputation for being ruthless in court. "Mr. Ashley, I've reviewed the information you sent. This is straightforward adultery. In Colorado, we're a no-fault state, but infidelity can still affect asset division, especially if marital funds were used to facilitate the affair." "I don't care about the money," Gregory said. Atkinson raised an eyebrow. "Then what do you care about?" "I care about exposure. Consequences. Making sure this doesn't just disappear into a quiet settlement." "I see. You want her to feel it. I want them both to feel it. Tell me about your assets." Gregory laid it out. The house, valued at $1.2 million, purchased before the marriage. His business, Ashley Security Consulting, worth approximately $3 million. Investment accounts, retirement funds. Most of it established before Vanessa, most of it protected. And her assets? Her salary, some jewelry I bought her. She doesn't have much independently. That actually works in your favor for a clean separation. But Mr. Ashley, if you're looking for revenge through the legal system, I should warn you. Divorce court isn't the place for that. They care about equitable division, not punishment. I understand. That's why the legal action is just one piece. Gregory leaned forward. I need you to file, but I need you to do it strategically. Can you hold the paperwork for a week before filing? Atkinson studied him. What are you planning? Nothing illegal. I just need time to document everything properly. Financial records, evidence of the affair, witness statements. I want an airtight case. I can do that. But Gregory, and I'm speaking as someone who's seen a lot of scorched earth divorces, be careful. The desire for revenge can consume you. It can make you into someone you don't recognize. I appreciate the concern, but I've been trained to handle stress. This isn't emotion. It's strategy. Atkinson didn't look convinced, but he nodded. I'll prepare the paperwork. Call me when you're ready to file. Gregory spent the next 3 days in tactical mode. He didn't contact Vanessa, didn't respond to her increasingly desperate messages. Russell fed him intelligence. Derek Wagoner, 34, sales director at a pharmaceutical company. Divorced 2 years ago, lost his house in the settlement. Currently living in a downtown condo he couldn't really afford. Known around the office as ambitious, charismatic, and willing to cut corners. No criminal record, but HR complaints from 2 female colleagues about inappropriate behavior. Vanessa had met him at a hotel industry conference 10 months ago. Phone records showed their first call 3 days after that conference. Text messages, recovered from her cloud backup, showed the progression from flirtation to explicit. But the most interesting discovery came Wednesday afternoon. Greg, you need to see this, Russell said, connecting his laptop to Gregory's monitor. I pulled Vanessa's call logs. There's one number she calls regularly, always after meeting with Derek. I traced it. A photo appeared on screen. Marta Ferris, early 40s, bleached blonde, heavy makeup. Her social media showed a lifestyle beyond her means, expensive cars, designer clothes, exotic vacations. Who is she? Vanessa's former co-worker. Got fired from prestige hotels 3 years ago for falsifying expense reports. Since then, she's been, let's call her a freelance relationship consultant. And what? She helps married women have affairs. Provides alibis, teaches them how to cover their tracks, even scouts potential affair partners. Think of her as a professional homewrecker for hire. Gregory stared at the screen. You're kidding. Wish I was. She operates mostly through word of mouth. Charges $5,000 upfront, then $1,000 monthly for consulting services. Phone records show Vanessa's been paying her for 7 months. So Vanessa didn't just have an affair. She hired a professional to help her do it. Looks that way. And there's more. Russell pulled up bank statements. Derek's been receiving deposits from an LLC registered to Marta. $2,000 a month for the past 6 months. Gregory felt something click into place. He's being paid to seduce married women. That's my read. Marta finds the marks. Derek plays the role of the passionate affair partner. They split the fees. It's a con. Does Vanessa know? Based on the text messages? No. She thinks it's real love. Derek's playing her, and Marta's cashing the checks. Gregory sat back, processing. This changed everything. Vanessa wasn't just unfaithful. She was a mark in a scam. Derek wasn't a legitimate rival. He was a professional manipulator. And Marta was the architect of it all. What are you thinking? Russell asked. I'm thinking about leverage. About pressure points. About how to make this collapse in the most spectacular way possible. Gregory pulled up a blank document. We need to expand the operation. I want financials on Marta's business. I want to know every woman she's currently working with. I want to know if Derek has run this play before. You're going after all of them. I'm going to dismantle the entire operation. Marta, Derek, and Vanessa. They want to play games with people's lives. They're about to learn what happens when you play against someone who actually knows what they're doing. Russell grinned. Now we're talking. What's the plan? Gregory began typing. Phase 1, documentation. We need irrefutable evidence of the scam, bank records, communications, everything. Phase 2, exposure. We identify their other victims and give them the information they need. Phase 3. He paused. Phase 3 is where it gets interesting. Illegal interesting? Aggressively legal interesting. We're going to use their own system against them. Turn Derek and Marta on each other. Make Vanessa realize exactly what kind of people she's trusted. And we're going to do it in a way where they can't sue, can't retaliate, and can't escape the consequences. How long do we have? Vanessa's still blowing up my phone, but she hasn't filed anything yet. I'd say we have maybe a week before she lawyers up seriously. That's our window. Russell stood. Then we better get moving. I'll start pulling financials. You should prepare for the endgame. Already on it. Gregory pulled up a file labeled Operation Riverside. Inside were 3 subfolders: Vanessa, Derek, Marta. Each would get exactly what they deserved. And Gregory Ashley was going to make sure of it. Chapter 5. The Trap Takes Shape. By Friday, Gregory had assembled a case file that would make a federal prosecutor jealous. Bank statements showing Marta's payments to Derek. Screenshots of text messages between Vanessa and Marta discussing strategy. Phone records proving the timeline. Even receipts from the Riverside and that Derek had been expensing to a shell company. But evidence wasn't enough. Gregory needed leverage. He sat in his office, studying the information Russell had compiled on Marta's other clients. 3 women, all married, all currently being serviced by Marta's operation. Different men than Derek. Apparently, she had a whole stable of professional affair partners. One name jumped out: Karen O'Connor, wife of Clayton Gill, a prominent Denver city councilman. Her affair had been ongoing for 4 months. Gregory picked up his phone and called a number he hadn't used in 3 years. Hendricks Investigations, a gruff voice answered. Roderick, it's Gregory Ashley. Greg, long time. How's civilian life treating you? Roderick Hendricks was ex-Army CD, now running a private investigation firm. They'd worked together on a fraud case 2 years ago. Complicated. I need a favor, and I need it done quietly. What kind of favor? Gregory explained the situation, focusing on Marta's operation. I need you to contact Clayton Gill's office anonymously. Tell them his wife is being scammed by a woman named Marta Ferris. Provide just enough detail to make them investigate. You want me to blow up a city councilman's marriage. I want you to warn him that his wife is a victim of fraud. What he does with that information is his choice. Roderick was quiet for a moment. This feels personal, Greg. It is. But it's also the right thing to do. These people are running a scam, ruining marriages for profit. Someone needs to stop them. All right, I'll make the call. But Greg, be careful. People like this, when cornered, they get desperate. I'm counting on it. Saturday morning, Gregory finally responded to Vanessa's messages. We need to talk. Sunday, 2 p.m., the Hideaway Cafe. Come alone. Her response was immediate. Thank you. I'll be there. I love you. He didn't reply. The Hideaway Cafe was a quiet spot in Cherry Creek, private booths, expensive coffee. Gregory arrived early, chose a corner table where he could see the entrance, and waited. Vanessa walked in at 1:58, looking nervous and exhausted. She'd lost weight, had dark circles under her eyes. Part of him, the part that had loved her, felt sympathy. The rest stayed cold. She sat down across from him. Greg, thank you for. How much did you pay Marta Ferris? Vanessa froze. What? Simple question. How much did you pay Marta to help you cheat on me? Her face went pale. How did you? Greg, it's not what you think. $5,000 upfront, $1,000 a month for 7 months. $12,000 total. That's what I think. He slid a folder across the table. Bank statements. Your accounts to hers. Vanessa's hands shook as she opened the folder. I can explain. Did you know Derek was being paid? What? No, that's insane. $2,000 a month from Marta's LLC. He's not your soulmate, Vanessa. He's a professional. Marta finds unhappy wives. Derek seduces them. They split the fees. You're a mark. Tears started flowing. No, Derek loves me. He said what you needed to hear. That's his job. That's what Marta pays him for. Gregory kept his voice neutral, clinical. You're not special to him. You're a paycheck. I don't believe you. Gregory pulled out his phone, played a recording. Derek's voice. This Ashley gig is getting complicated. The husband showed up at the motel. Might be time to cut bait. Marta's voice. Give it another month. She's good for at least one more payment. Then we'll transition her to the amicable breakup phase. Derek, fine. But I want a bonus. This one's higher risk than usual. Vanessa listened, her face crumpling. Where did you get this? Marta's phone. Russell's very good at his job. This is illegal. No more illegal than fraud. Or conspiracy to commit fraud. Or using marital assets to fund an affair. Gregory leaned forward. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go home, pack your things, and move out. I'm filing for divorce Monday morning. You'll sign whatever papers my lawyer sends. You'll take your personal items and nothing else. Greg, please. Or I go to the police with this recording. I go to your employer with evidence that you've been lying about business trips. I go to every woman in Marta's network and show them what kind of operation they're funding. Your choice. You can't do this. I already have. The question is how bad you want this to get. He stood. You have until tomorrow night to move out. After that, I'm changing the locks. I made a mistake. I know I did, but you didn't make a mistake, Vanessa. You made a series of calculated decisions. You hired someone to help you betray me. You paid money to learn how to lie more effectively. That's not a mistake. That's a character deficiency. He walked out, leaving her crying in the booth. His phone rang as he reached his car. Unknown number. Mr. Ashley? This is Councilman Gill. I believe we need to talk. Chapter 6. The Network Unravels. Clayton Gill's office was all dark wood and political ambition. Photos with governors, senators, local heroes. The man himself was 52, silver-haired, with the controlled fury of someone used to being in command. Mr. Ashley, your investigator friend, gave me some disturbing information about my wife. Gill gestured to a chair. I want to know everything. Gregory sat, placing a USB drive on the desk. Everything is on there. Marta Ferris runs a scam targeting married women. She identifies unhappy wives, offers consultation on how to have affairs safely, then introduces them to professional affair partners who are paid to seduce them. Your wife Karen has been a client for 4 months. Gill's jaw tightened. And you know this how? My wife was also a client. I discovered the operation while investigating her infidelity. I see. And you brought this to me because? Because Marta's operation needs to be shut down. You have resources I don't. Political connections, law enforcement contacts. I'm giving you the evidence to destroy her. Gill picked up the USB drive. What do you get out of this? Justice, closure, and the satisfaction of knowing I stopped them from doing this to anyone else. Noble, but I suspect there's more to it. There is. I also want them to know they lost. I want Marta and her associates to understand that they can't operate with impunity. That someone fought back and won. Gill studied him. You're military, aren't you? I can always tell. Marines. Intelligence. It shows. Gill stood, extending his hand. I'll make some calls. We'll need the FBI involved. This is wire fraud, conspiracy, potentially RICO if we can prove a pattern. It'll take time, but we'll build a case. How long? Weeks. Maybe months. These things move slowly. I don't have months. Marta and Derek will scatter the moment they know I'm onto them. Then we need to keep them confident. Keep them thinking they're in control. Gill smiled grimly. You know anything about counterintelligence, Mr. Ashley? It's my specialty. Good. Because I have an idea. The plan came together over the next 4 days. Gill used his connections to bring in FBI agent Joe Cross, a financial crimes specialist who'd been building a case against similar operations. With Gregory's evidence as foundation, they constructed a trap. The key, Agent Cross explained in a secure conference room, is making them think they're winning. Derek needs to believe Vanessa is still hooked. Marta needs to think her operation is secure. Meanwhile, we gather evidence for prosecution. How do we do that? Gregory asked. We use you. Specifically, we use your anger. You confront Marta, threaten her, make her believe you're a scorned husband who might do something violent. She'll record the conversation, try to use it against you. While she's focused on that threat, we're documenting her other operations. You want me to look unstable. I want you to look dangerous. Can you do that? Gregory smiled coldly. I can do that. Tuesday evening, Gregory walked into Marta Ferris's office, a trendy space in a converted warehouse, decorated like a life coach's dream. Marta herself looked exactly like her photos, overprocessed, overconfident, the kind of person who believed her own mythology. Mr. Ashley, I wondered when you'd show up. She gestured to a chair. Please sit. I'll stand. This won't take long. Vanessa's told me about you. Controlling, emotionally unavailable, unable to meet her needs. Shut up. Gregory's voice was flat, dangerous. I'm not here for your amateur psychology. I'm here to give you a choice. Marta's smile faltered. A choice. You have 48 hours to shut down your operation. Return the money you've taken from your clients. Disappear from Colorado. Or I make it my personal mission to destroy you. That sounds like a threat. It's a promise. I know what you are. I know what Derek is. I know about your other clients, your shell companies, your entire scam. And I have evidence. Lots of it. Marta's mask slipped. For a moment, Gregory saw calculation, fear. Then it returned. You think you can threaten me? I have lawyers, Mr. Ashley. Good ones. Anything you try to do, I'll bury you in litigation. Try it. While you're filing paperwork, I'll be visiting every husband of every woman you've scammed. I'll be talking to the FBI about wire fraud. I'll be talking to the IRS about your unreported income. I'll be talking to anyone who'll listen about what you've done. You have no proof. I have recordings, bank statements, witness testimony, and I have nothing left to lose, Marta. My marriage is over. My life is already blown up. All I have left is making sure you pay for what you've done. He leaned across her desk, voice dropping. You've made a career out of destroying families. Now someone's going to destroy you. 48 hours. After that, I go public with everything. He walked out, knowing she'd immediately called Derek, warn him, start trying to cover her tracks. That's what they needed. Panicked people made mistakes. Agent Cross was waiting in a van 3 blocks away. How'd it go? She's scared. She'll move fast now. Good. We're monitoring her communications. The moment she tries to move money or contact her other operatives, we'll have her. Gregory's phone buzzed. Russell, Derek just booked a flight to Mexico. Leaving Thursday. They're running, Gregory said. Let them run. We'll pick them up at the airport. Cross grinned. You did good work, Ashley. This case is going to take down the whole network. What about Vanessa? She was a victim of fraud. Unless she knowingly participated in scamming others, she'll probably face civil consequences, not criminal. Her testimony against Marta will actually help. Gregory nodded. It was more than she deserved, but it was justice. Imperfect, but real. One more thing, Cross said. Councilman Gill wants to issue a public statement about the investigation. Credit you with breaking it open. That okay? No. Keep my name out of it. This isn't about glory. What's it about? Gregory thought about the moment he'd found that keycard. The drive to the motel. The sight of Derek's smug face. It's about making sure they lose. Completely. Publicly. Making sure everyone knows that actions have consequences. Sounds personal. It is. But it's also right. Thursday morning, Gregory watched from a distance as FBI agents arrested Derek Wagoner at DA. The sales director who'd been so confident, so smug, was led away in handcuffs while other passengers stared. 2 hours later, Marta Ferris was arrested at her office, agents seizing computers, files, everything. Vanessa called him that afternoon. Greg, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know what they were. I know. The FBI knows too. They'll want to talk to you. Am I going to jail? No. But you might have to testify. And you'll probably be named in civil suits from the other victims. She was crying. I destroyed everything. Our marriage, my reputation, my career. Yes, you did. Is there any chance, any way we could? No. The divorce papers were filed Monday. It's over, Vanessa. I love you. I know you don't believe me, but maybe you do. But love without trust is nothing. And you didn't just break my trust. You paid someone to help you break it more efficiently. That's not something I can forgive. He ended the call. Russell found him that evening in his office, staring out at the Denver skyline. It's done. Marta and Derek are facing federal charges. The other women in the network are being contacted. Councilman Gill's holding a press conference tomorrow about cracking a fraud ring. Good. You won, brother. Completely. They're going to prison. Their lives are over. And you're walking away clean. I don't feel like I won. Because you lost the marriage? Because I married someone who could do this. What does that say about my judgment? Russell poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed one to Gregory. It says you're human. You trusted someone. They betrayed that trust. That's not on you, isn't it? I'm trained to read people. I should have seen it. Love makes us blind, Greg. That's not a weakness. That's what makes us human. They drank in silence. Finally, Russell asked, what now? Now? I move forward. Rebuild. Maybe take some time off. Figure out who I am without her. You're Gregory Ashley. Marine. Security consultant. Badass who just took down a criminal enterprise. That's who you are. Gregory smiled slightly. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just a guy who got played and got angry enough to fight back. Either way, you won. Remember that. Chapter 7. Scorched Earth. The press conference was a spectacle. Councilman Gill stood before cameras, flanked by FBI representatives, announcing the dismantling of a sophisticated fraud ring that targeted vulnerable married women across Colorado. He didn't mention Gregory by name, but the details were clear. Someone had provided the evidence that broke the case wide open. Gregory watched from his office, Russell beside him. They're really laying it on thick, Russell observed. Good. Let Marta and Derek see what they're up against. His phone rang. Alan Atkinson, his divorce lawyer. Gregory, we have a problem. Vanessa's attorney is claiming she was mentally manipulated by Marta. They're trying to argue diminished capacity, saying she can't be held fully responsible for her actions during the affair. That's garbage. Legally, it might actually work. The fraud case against Marta helps their argument. They're positioning Vanessa as a victim. Gregory's grip tightened on the phone. She hired Marta voluntarily. She paid for those services with our money. I know, but judges are sympathetic to fraud victims. We need to be prepared for this to get complicated. After the call ended, Russell looked concerned. They're trying to make her the victim? They're trying. It won't work. Gregory pulled up his laptop. Time for phase 2. I thought we were done. We're done with Marta and Derek. But Vanessa? She needs to understand there are still consequences for her choices. Gregory had been holding back one piece of evidence, a recording from the motel room, made by a device Russell had planted. In it, Vanessa and Derek discussed their future together. More importantly, Vanessa laughed about Gregory's obliviousness, called him predictable, mocked his dedication to their marriage. It was cruel, calculated, and entirely voluntary. No manipulation, no fraud, just Vanessa revealing who she really was. You're going to use that in court, Russell said. I'm going to make sure the judge hears exactly what kind of victim she is. The divorce hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In the interim, more information emerged about Marta's operation. 6 women total, all paying similar fees. 2 other men besides Derek, all receiving stipends. Bank accounts in 3 states, shell companies, the whole apparatus of organized fraud. Agent Cross called with updates. Marta's trying to cut a deal. She's offering to testify against her accomplices in exchange for reduced charges. Will it work? Probably not. We have her dead to rights on wire fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy. She's looking at 10 years minimum. And Derek? He's trying to play the "I was just doing a job" card. Says he didn't know it was illegal to be paid for dating women. His lawyer's an idiot. What about the other affair partners? 2 have already pled out. They're cooperating. The whole thing's collapsing. Gregory felt a grim satisfaction. Good. But the real confrontation came 3 days before the divorce hearing. Vanessa showed up at Gregory's house unannounced, looking desperate. He answered the door, but didn't let her in. What do you want? Please, Greg. We can still fix this. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but we can. There's nothing to fix. It's over. The FBI told me about the recording. From the motel room. Her eyes were red, pleading. You can't use that in court. It'll destroy any sympathy I might get. That's the point. Please. I'm begging you. I'll sign anything, agree to any terms. Just don't play that recording. Why shouldn't I? It's the truth. It's you, in your own words, mocking me, mocking our marriage. I was angry. I was confused. Marta was in my head. Stop. Just stop. Gregory's voice was ice. You can't keep blaming Marta for your choices. She didn't force you to cheat. She didn't force you to lie. She didn't force you to laugh about betraying me. You did that. Own it. I am owning it. I'm trying to make amends. You're trying to avoid consequences. That's not the same thing. Vanessa's face hardened. You want to destroy me. That's what this is really about. You can't stand that I chose someone else, so you're going to burn my life to the ground. No, Vanessa. You did that yourself. I'm just making sure you understand what you did. You're cruel. I never knew you could be so cruel. I learned from the best, he said, and closed the door. Russell, who'd been listening from the living room, emerged. She's going to fight dirty now? She's cornered. Let her fight. She doesn't have any ammunition left. But Russell was right to be concerned. 2 days later, Gregory received a letter from Vanessa's attorney threatening to sue for emotional distress, claiming Gregory's harassment and public humiliation had caused psychological damage. Alan Atkinson laughed when Gregory showed him. They're bluffing. We have evidence of her fraud participation, her affair, her misuse of marital assets. They have nothing. Then why threaten it? Desperation. They know they're losing, so they're throwing everything at the wall hoping something sticks. The divorce hearing was clinical and brutal. Judge Lydia Pennington, a no-nonsense family court veteran, listened to both sides with visible impatience. Vanessa's attorney painted her as a victim. My client was manipulated by a sophisticated fraud operation. She was vulnerable, going through a difficult time in her marriage, and she was exploited. Mr. Ashley's vindictiveness is only adding to her trauma. Alan Atkinson responded with facts. Mrs. Ashley voluntarily hired Marta Ferris. She voluntarily engaged in an affair. She voluntarily used marital funds to facilitate that affair. The recording we're about to play demonstrates her state of mind clearly. She was not manipulated. She was complicit. He played the motel room recording. Vanessa's voice, bright and happy. God, this is so much easier than I thought it would be. Marta was right. Greg's so predictable. Sees what he wants to see. Derek's laugh. Most husbands are. That's what makes this so easy. Vanessa, I almost feel bad. Almost. But then I remember how boring my life was with him, and I don't feel bad anymore. The courtroom was silent. Judge Pennington's expression didn't change, but her eyes grew colder. Mrs. Ashley, the judge said, do you have a response to this recording? Vanessa's attorney stood. Your Honor, this recording was obtained illegally. Actually, Allen interrupted, Colorado is a one-party consent state. The recording device was placed by an investigator working on behalf of Mr. Ashley in a space where there was no reasonable expectation of privacy. It's perfectly legal. Judge Pennington nodded. Mrs. Ashley, I'll ask again. Do you have a response? Vanessa looked broken. I was angry. I said things I didn't mean. You said them in private, to your affair partner, with no audience. That suggests you did mean them. The judge reviewed her notes. Based on the evidence presented, I find that Mrs. Ashley engaged in adultery, misused marital assets, and attempted to defraud the court by claiming manipulation when she was a willing participant. The prenuptial agreement stands. Mrs. Ashley is entitled to her personal property and nothing else. Mr. Ashley retains all assets acquired before the marriage and during. Divorce granted. The gavel came down. It was over in less than an hour. Chapter 8. The Reckoning. 3 weeks after the divorce was finalized, Gregory sat in a federal courtroom watching Marta Ferris face sentencing. She'd been convicted on 14 counts of wire fraud, conspiracy, and tax evasion. Her attorney made a final plea for leniency. Judge Herman Marsh wasn't interested. Ms. Ferris, you ran a predatory operation that targeted vulnerable people and destroyed families. You did it knowingly, systematically, and without remorse. The court sentences you to 12 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years supervised release. You will also pay restitution to your victims. Marta's face crumpled. She'd aged years in the few weeks since her arrest, the confidence and polish gone. She looked small, defeated. Derek Wagoner was sentenced separately. 8 years, with similar restitution requirements. His smug charm had vanished entirely. He looked like what he was, a con artist who'd finally been caught. Gregory felt no satisfaction watching them sentenced. He'd won, but it felt hollow. Outside the courthouse, Councilman Gill approached. Justice served, Mr. Ashley. Is it? Their lives are ruined, but does that fix what they broke? No, but it prevents them from breaking more. Gill offered his hand. What you did, bringing this to light, building the case. You saved other families from going through what you went through. That matters. Maybe. You're a hard man to compliment. Gill smiled. If you ever want to transition from private security to public service, give me a call. We could use people with your skills. I'll keep that in mind. Agent Cross joined them. Final numbers. 11 victims identified. Over $200,000 in fraud. Marta's operation had been running for 5 years. You didn't just stop it, Ashley. You dismantled it completely. What happens to the other women? The ones who were scammed. Civil suits mostly. They can go after Marta's assets. What's left of them? Some will probably face questions from their spouses, but that's between them. Gregory thought about those women, victims like Vanessa, except they might not have been as complicit. Make sure they know they can reach out if they need help. Russell's firm does security consulting, but we also do fraud recovery work. Cross raised an eyebrow. Turning this into a business opportunity? Turning it into something useful. These women will need support, advice on protecting themselves. Might as well come from someone who understands what they're going through. Over the following months, Gregory rebuilt his life piece by piece. He sold the house, too many memories, and bought a loft downtown. He threw himself into work, expanding Ashley Security Consulting services to include fraud prevention and digital security for at-risk clients. 3 of Marta's victims hired him. He helped them secure their accounts, document their cases, navigate the legal aftermath. It was satisfying in a way the revenge had never been. Actually helping people instead of just punishing the guilty. Russell noticed the change. You're different. Lighter. I'm not carrying anger anymore. What changed? I realized winning wasn't about destroying them. It was about making sure they couldn't hurt anyone else. Once I understood that, the rest fell into place. But closure came unexpectedly, 6 months after the divorce. Gregory was in his office when his secretary buzzed. "Mr. Ashley? There's a Vanessa Ashley here to see you." "Well, Vanessa Parsons now, I guess." Gregory hesitated. "Then, send her in." Vanessa looked different. Thinner, older, but also somehow more grounded. She sat across from him, nervous. "Thank you for seeing me." "What do you want, Vanessa?" "I wanted to apologize." "Really apologize, not the desperate stuff I said during the divorce." She took a breath. "You were right about everything. I made choices. Bad ones. And I tried to blame everyone but myself. Okay. I've been in therapy, working through why I did what I did. And I realized I was scared. Scared of being ordinary. Scared of settling down. Scared of real commitment. Marta offered me an escape, and I took it. I didn't think about what it would cost. I didn't think about you at all. I know. The thing is, I destroyed something good. Our marriage had problems, but they were fixable. I just didn't want to put in the work. I wanted easy. And I'm so sorry." Gregory studied her. This felt genuine in a way her previous apologies hadn't. "I appreciate you saying that. I don't expect forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I understand what I did. And I'm trying to be better." "Are you?" "I'm working as a waitress now. Lost my job at the hotel chain when the scandal broke. I'm living in a studio apartment, barely making rent. But I'm not lying anymore. Not to myself. Not to anyone. It's harder, but it's honest." "Good for you." She stood. "That's all I wanted to say. I'll leave you alone now." She paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I hope you find someone who deserves you. Someone who appreciates what I was too stupid to see." After she left, Russell came in. "How do you feel?" "Honestly, sorry for her. She threw away her life for a scam, and now she's paying for it. But also relieved. She's taking responsibility. That's more than I expected." "Think you'll ever forgive her?" "Maybe. Eventually. But we'll never be friends. Never have a relationship. Some betrayals are just too deep." "Fair enough." Chapter 9, Forward March. 1 year after discovering the affair, Gregory Ashley stood in his new office overlooking downtown Denver, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. The past year had been a crucible, burning away naivety and leaving something harder, wiser, but not bitter. His business had grown. Ashley Security Consulting now employed 15 people, including 3 specialists in fraud prevention who worked exclusively with infidelity victims. They'd helped 27 people navigate similar situations to Gregory's, providing evidence gathering, legal support, and psychological resources. Russell knocked on the doorframe. "Got a minute?" "Always." New client inquiry. Woman named Joyce Patrick. Suspects her husband's having an affair, but needs proof. Gregory pulled up the file. "What's her situation?" "Married 8 years, 2 kids, husband's a real estate developer. Classic signs, late nights, unexplained charges, distant behavior. We'll help her. Set up a consultation." Russell lingered. "You know, you've helped a lot of people this year. More than you probably realize. It's the job. It's more than that. You took something that destroyed you and turned it into something that helps others. That takes strength." Gregory shrugged. "I had good training. Marines taught me to adapt and overcome. This is just adapting. It's more than that, and you know it." Maybe it was. Maybe taking his pain and transforming it into something useful was a kind of healing. Or maybe he was just too stubborn to let the experience destroy him. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Mr. Ashley? This is Gordon Tyler. I'm an attorney representing Marta Ferris." Gregory's jaw tightened. "What does she want?" "Ms. Ferris is writing a book about her experiences. She wants to include her perspective on your role in her arrest. We're reaching out to see if you'd like to provide a statement. Tell Ms. Ferris she can write whatever she wants. I stand by everything I did. She's claiming you entrapped her, that you manipulated the evidence. She was convicted by a federal jury after reviewing overwhelming evidence. If she wants to perjure herself in a book, that's her choice. But I won't be participating." He hung up and immediately called Agent Cross. "Marta's writing a book," he said without preamble. "I heard. Her publisher's already backing out. Turns out convicted fraudsters don't make reliable narrators." Cross chuckled. "Don't worry about it, Ashley. She's grasping at straws from a prison cell. You've moved on. Let her stay in the past." That evening, Gregory met Russell for dinner at a steakhouse downtown. Over perfectly grilled ribeyes, Russell brought up a topic they'd danced around for months. When are you going to start dating again? Not there yet. It's been a year, brother. You can't let Vanessa's betrayal poison your whole future. I'm not. I'm just being careful, making sure I'm ready. You've helped 24 people through their divorces. You've rebuilt your business, bought a new place, reconnected with old friends. You're more than ready. Gregory considered this. Maybe, but I'm in no rush. I spent 6 years with the wrong person. I'd rather be alone than make that mistake again. Fair, but don't close yourself off completely. The right person might surprise you. A week later, that surprise came in an unexpected form. Joyce Patrick sat in Gregory's office, reviewing the evidence Russell's team had gathered. Her husband was indeed having an affair with his business partner's wife, no less. The documentation was thorough, damning, and exactly what she needed. Thank you, she said, tears in her eyes. I knew, but I needed proof. Needed to know I wasn't crazy. You're not crazy, and you're stronger than you think. Gregory handed her tissues. What's your next step? Divorce. I'm not staying with someone who treats our marriage like it's disposable. She looked up. How did you get through it? Everyone says you handled your situation perfectly. I didn't handle it perfectly. I got angry, planned revenge, made it about punishment instead of healing. It worked out, but there were better ways. What would you do differently? I'd focus less on making them suffer and more on protecting myself. Revenge feels good in the moment, but it doesn't fix the broken parts. He leaned forward. Focus on your kids, your future. Document everything, protect your assets, but don't let anger consume you. That's how they win. Joyce nodded, taking notes. Can I ask, did you ever find someone else? Not yet, but I'm open to it. She smiled slightly. My sister's single. Corporate lawyer, smart, funny. If you're interested. Gregory surprised himself by not immediately declining. Maybe. Give me her number. After Joyce left, Russell poked his head in. Did I just hear you agree to a setup? Maybe I'm ready to move forward. Hallelujah. I was beginning to think you'd taken a vow of celibacy. Gregory laughed, genuinely laughed. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. The date with Joyce's sister, Sandy Grady, was surprisingly easy. She was indeed smart and funny, with a sharp wit and no tolerance for nonsense. They met for coffee, talked for 3 hours, and agreed to do it again. Fair warning, Gregory said at the end. I come with baggage. Everyone does. What matters is how you carry it. Sandy smiled. You seem like you've put yours down and moved on. That's attractive. I'm trying. Trying is good enough. 3 months later, Gregory stood in the same office where he'd planned his revenge, looking at a very different kind of file. Not evidence of betrayal, but business projections for Ashley Securities' expansion into 3 new states. Russell had partnered with 2 former FBI agents to launch a fraud prevention division. They were helping hundreds of people protect themselves from scams like Martis. His personal life had stabilized too. He and Sandy were taking it slow, building something genuine without rushing. She knew his history, understood his caution, and respected his boundaries. Vanessa, he'd heard through mutual acquaintances, had moved to Arizona. Working in hospitality again, dating someone steady. He hoped she'd found the honesty she claimed to be seeking. Marta's appeal had been denied. She'd serve her full sentence. Derek had become a cautionary tale in prison, reportedly spending his time warning other inmates about the consequences of fraud. And Gregory? He'd become something unexpected, a resource for people navigating the worst betrayals of their lives, a guide through darkness he knew intimately. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Ashley? Mrs. Patrick is here with a referral. Send them in. Another person needing help. Another chance to turn his pain into purpose. Gregory Ashley had learned the hardest way that trust, once broken, was nearly impossible to rebuild. But he'd also learned that destruction didn't have to be permanent. That pain could be transformed into strength. That victory wasn't always about revenge. Sometimes it was simply about refusing to let betrayal define you. He'd won his war, not by destroying his enemies, though he'd done that too, but by building something better from the rubble of his broken marriage. The Marine Corps taught him to adapt and overcome. Vanessa's betrayal taught him to transform and transcend. And that was the greatest victory of all. Epilogue. 5 years later, Gregory Ashley stood in a different office. This one in Washington, D.C. Councilman Gill, now Congressman Gill, had made good on his offer. Ashley Security Consulting had become Ashley Security Solutions, a national firm consulting for corporations and government agencies on fraud prevention and digital security. Gregory wore a wedding ring again, Sandy's choice, after 2 years of dating and a proposal that surprised even him with its simplicity and sincerity. On his desk sat a framed photo, him and Russell at the opening of their 10th regional office, surrounded by their team of investigators, security specialists, and support staff. Many were former victims of fraud, trained and employed to help others avoid similar fates. His phone rang. A Virginia area code. Gregory Ashley. Mr. Ashley, this is the U.S. Attorney's Office. We have a case we think you might be interested in, a nationwide romance scam operation targeting vulnerable individuals. We need someone who understands both the technical and human elements. Gregory smiled. Tell me more. Some battles never ended. But at least now he was fighting them for the right reasons. Not revenge, but protection. Not anger, but justice. He'd learned the hard way that trust was precious and betrayal devastating. But he'd also learned that from the ashes of destruction, you could build something worth having. And that was worth everything. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.